I am Ms. Venise Ocampo, a Hospitality Management Instructor. Welcome to my class.
A pleasant day to each and every one of you. Welcome to our class, Tourism Policy Planning and Development. So for today's lesson video, we are going to talk about understanding tourism planning and development. So we will dig deeper on what tourism planning and development is. So let's start. So it says here that there is what we call World Bank strategy for eliminating poverty. But before that, let me just discuss to you what is World Bank. So basically, si World Bank, it consists of 189 member countries, staff from more than 170 countries, and offices in over 130 locations. So the World Bank Group is a unique global partnership. 5 institutions are working for sustainable solutions that reduce poverty and build shared prosperity in developing countries. So in short, the World Bank Group is one of the largest sources of funding and knowledge for developing countries. So sila, they are committed to reduce poverty, increase shared prosperity, and promote sustainable development. So sila yung tumutulong sa mga 189 member countries na to para nang sa ganun is ma-reduce natin or ma-eliminate natin yung poverty o yung tinatawag nating kahirapan. So next is, what is the mission of the World Bank Group? Ano ba yung kanilang mission? Bakit nila itinatag itong grupo na to? So first is to end extreme poverty. So in short, they want to reduce the share of global population that lives in extreme poverty to 3% by 2030. So they want na mabawasan yung kahirapan by the end of 2030. Kasi alam naman natin nowadays, lalong-lalo na't may pandemic, so talagang sinusubok yung bawat bansa because aside from sa nararanasan nating challenges because of the COVID-19, meron din namang extreme poverty din na tinatawag. Yung iba pa nga is nagkakaroon ng mga problema sa ibang bansa like malnutrition, meron silang mga limited resources na wherein hindi sila makakope up with their everyday lives. So the next one is to promote shared prosperity. So by increasing the incomes of the poorest 40% of people in every country. So they want to promote prosperity. So prosperity, ibig sabihin mas maging masagana, magkaroon ng income yung mga mahihirap na tao sa buong mundo. So those are the missions of the World Bank. Now, we have here 5 institutions of World Bank. So ito nga yung 5 institution na kung saan kasama rin sila sa mga tumutulong upang mabigyan at malutas natin yung tinatawag na kahirapan. So the first one is the IBRD or the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. So basically, ano ba ginagawa ni IBRD? So kindly take note of this. So they are one of the international financial institution that offers loans. Okay? So nag-o-offer sila ng mga loans sa mga middle income countries. So sa mga bansa na yon, nag-o-offer sila ng loan para nang sa ganon matulungan nila yung bansa na yun para mas mag-develop pa lalo. And their headquarters is from Washington, D.C., United States of America. So the next one is the IDA or the International Development Association. So si IDA naman is basically same. Nag-offer din sila ng mga loans and grants to the world's poorest developing countries. So as you can see, they have similar objectives, they have similar goals, and that is to help yung mga poor countries for them to further develop and grow para nang sa ganon is ma-eliminate talaga yung tinatawag nating poverty. So the next one is the IFC or the International Finance Corporation. So basically, si IFC is a strong and engaged private sector which is dispensable to ending extreme poverty and boosting shared prosperity. So si IFC rather is existing more than 60 years Okay? So, 60 years nang nag-exist si IFC, wherein they are more of unlocking private investment. They create markets and opportunities where needed the most. So, kumbaga, meron silang mga in-offer na mga products and services. They're offering financial support and financial services also. So, the next one is the MIGA or the Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency. So, si MIGA naman is basically they guarantees protect investments against non-commercial risk and can help investors obtain access to funding sources with improved financial terms and condition. So, si MIGA from the word itself, multilateral investment, so they are giving, let's say, protection doon sa mga investment ng mga investor. And basically, they can have funding sources para nang sa ganun is ma-improve yung kanilang mga finances. So, syempre, as we improve their finances, there are also terms and conditions na dapat nilang sundin. So, the last one is the ICSID or the International Center for Settlement of Investment Dispute. So, si ICSID naman is basically an international arbitration institution established in 1966 for legal dispute resolution and conciliation between international investors and states. So, ginagawa naman ni ICSID is basically they help to promote international investment. So, by promoting the international investment, they're also providing confidence in dispute resolution processes. So, yung dispute, most likely, ito yung mga argument, yung may mga conflict about finances and investment. So, sila yung tumutulong with regards to the dispute resolution process. Okay? So, those are the 5 institutions that is partnered with the World Bank Group. So, the next one is the term poverty. So, alam naman na nating lahat that poverty is kahirapan. So, ito yung mga nararanasan ng maraming tao sa buong mundo na wherein poverty is a fact of life for 2.5 billion people who subsist on earnings of $2 a day in less developed countries. So, can you imagine that these 2.5 billion people are only earning $2 a day. So, when you convert it in peso, it's like less than 100 peso. Okay? Less than 100 pesos a day. So, can you imagine that na saan nila, paano nila i-manage, paano nila i-budget yung 100 pesos a day na yon for their families and for their needs. Okay? So, the poor people are lack of opportunities and voice. So, that is true. Alam naman natin na kapag mahirap ka, 'di ba? Kapag mahirap ang isang tao, most likely wala tayong power to voice out kung ano man yung mga naisin nating sabihin sa gobyerno, sa society, or sa community. They lack basic services provided to almost all person in richer countries. At dahil nga sila is mahirap, of course, they are lacking sa mga basic services. So, ano ba yung mga basic services na yon? That includes education, primary health care center, livable secure center, and clear drinking water. So, can you imagine these 2.5 billion people, ala silang basic education. Hindi nila naranasan na mag-aral. 'Di ba? They don't have a primary health care facilities. 'Di ba? Wala silang enough clinics, walang ospital, walang mga facilities to guide them and protect them kung sila man is magkakaroon ng sakit. They don't have secured homes. And of course, they don't have access to a clear drinking water, malinis na tubig, na which is kailangan nating lahat to survive in our everyday lives. So now, what is the common target of the international development community? So we have here 8 targets na gusto nating ma-address isa-isa. So, number 1 is to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. So, as much as possible, we want to lessen, 'di ba? We want to lessen the poverty. We want to make sure na matapos yung kahirapan dito sa mundo na to. So, in that case, meron silang mga iba't ibang objectives sa goal number 1. Okay, so what is included in this goal number 1. So they want to end poverty in all forms everywhere. So they want to end extreme poverty globally by 2030. So can you imagine, 2021 na ngayon, they still have 9 years left to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. So isa sa mga ginagawa nila is of course to have an access or fulfill basic needs. For example, when it comes to the health, education, and of course, access to water and sanitation. Kasi yung extreme poverty is talagang nakikita natin siya sa mga low-income countries na kung saan sila yung may mga problema with regards to the politics, meron silang problema with regards to their economy, na kung saan nahihirapan talaga silang bumangon. So, number 2 is achieve universal primary education. So, lahat naman tayo, di ba, gusto natin na magkaroon ng quality education. And that is also one of the goals of the IDC. And of course, one of the sustainable development goals ng ating mundo. So, for example, si goal number 2, they want to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Okay? So, sa makatwid, gusto nila na magkaroon sana ng free primary and secondary education. They want to have equal access to quality pre-primary education. Diba? Yung mga affordable na mga technical, vocational, and higher education. Para nang sa ganon, dumami yung mga tao na merong relevant skills, and pagka nagkaroon sila ng skills, diba, they can earn income. And marireduce natin or mai-eliminate din natin yung tinatawag na discrimination. So, number 3 or goal number 3 is to promote gender equality and empower women. So, isa sa mga goal natin, of course, is to have an empowerment sa isa't isa, to promote equality. And that is, ang kanilang pledge dito is to leave no one behind. Okay? Walang maiiwan. So, regardless if you are a girl or a boy, you are a man or a woman, so you have an equal rights to opportunities. You have an equal right to live free without any discrimination, lalong-lalo na sa workplace. And you have an equal rights para maiwasan or unfortunately is hindi maranasan, 'di ba? Yung tinatawag natin na violence. So the fourth goal is to reduce the child mortality. So paano ba natin mare-reduce or let's say mababawasan yung tinatawag natin na child mortality? So syempre by having a access sa medical, 'di ba? Sa medical field. So, kung tayo is merong enough na mga doctors, meron tayong mga enough na medical facilities, mga clinics, of course, we can ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Diba? Kahit ano man yung edad mo, kahit matanda, bata, baby ka pa lang, diba? So, kung meron tayong enough na mga facilities, we have enough mga professionals to cure yung mga tao na to, so maiiwasan talaga yung tinatawag na child mortality. Okay? So in here, they want to increase life expectancy and reduce some of the common causes of child and maternal mortality. So minsan kasi 'di ba, pagkapanganak pa lang ni nanay, namatay na agad yung bata. So in that case, they want to reduce those kinds of problem. So, syempre, para ma-reduce din yung problema na yon, they need to have an increased health financing, support health workforce in developing countries, and improve early warning system for global health risk. So, para ngayon lang, kung hindi man child mortality yung pag-uusapan natin, is we are currently experiencing pandemic, okay, which is the COVID-19. So, goal number 5 is to improve maternal health. So, katulad lang din na sinabi natin kanina, we want to reduce, 'di ba, yung child mortality. So, pag na-reduce natin yun, syempre, magi-improve din yung maternal health ng mga kababaihan. So, once na sila is nagbubuntis, merong proper guidance, 'di ba? Merong mga medical guidance na pwede nating ibigay sa kanila. So, next one is to combat HIV, AIDS, and malaria. So, how can we combat that? How can we, let's say, fight against yung mga diseases na to? So, of course, by having the same implementation sa goal number 4 and goal number 5. So, we have to have a support with regards sa medicine, with regards sa pagbibigay ng vaccines, 'di ba? Increase health financing also, and of course, we want to fight these communicable diseases. And same also with the non-communicable diseases. And syempre, kapag ikaw is may HIV or AIDS, so most likely you are one of the person na madaling ma-discriminate. And we want also in that case to promote mental health. So next one is to ensure environmental sustainability. So as we go along the way, we really need to prioritize also our environment. Okay? Because that is important. So how can we ensure environmental sustainability? So of course, by taking an urgent action, 'di ba? To combat climate change, 'di ba? To combat this pollution, to combat this negative wrongdoings ng mga tao sa ating environment. So, syempre, we want to renew yung mga renewable resources. We want to strengthen resilience and adaptive capacity to climate-related disasters. So, para nang sa ganun, magkaroon man ng bagyo, magkaroon man ng pagbaha or any disasters, the government is ready. Diba? The government is ready para ma-reduce natin yung mga deaths, ma-reduce natin yung mga damages na pwedeng mag-occur sa ating environment. And of course, the last one is develop global partnership for development. So, syempre, as we go along the way, we want to have partners, diba? Partnership for the goals. So, we want to strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. So, dito, paano mangyayari yan? There should be an increase. Okay? There should be an increased international cooperation. So, yung mga goals natin na yan, isasakatuparan lang natin yan if we have a partners, 'di ba? Meron tayong mga ka-collaborate na ibang bansa na tutulong din sa atin to fight those goals and to make sure that those goals will be achieved. So, those are the common targets of the international development community. So, how about the economic growth? So, sinasabi dito that there are 4 groups, okay? 4 major groups with regards to the economic growth. So, those are the private sector, the government, the NGO, and the people. So, lalago lang talaga ang ating ekonomiya if those 4 groups, 'di ba? Itong 4 na grupo na 'to is magtutulong-tulong, 'di ba? Magko-collaborate with one another. So, alam naman natin kapag private sector, they are mostly jiving, 'di ba? Mostly sila yung nagja-jive sa kung ano mang mga rules and regulations na ipapatupad ni government. So, syempre, si government dapat tulungan din nila yung mga private sector. So, yung mga NGOs naman na ang goal is to help the community also, they should also help yung mga tao, 'di ba? Yung mga people, and if there is a collaboration sa 4 na to, of course, 'di ba? Magkakaroon talaga ng pag-unlad yung ekonomiya. So, hindi pwede na yung government is hindi nila tutulungan yung 3 na to. Okay? Kasi pag hindi nila tinulungan, so ano mangyayari? So, magkakaroon tayo ng problema. Kaya nga nagkakaroon ng pagbagsak ng ekonomiya. May mga bansa ngayon ang naghihirap because the government can't sustain their needs or the government can't even help them sa kanilang mga pangailangan. So, we have here 3 dimensions with regards to tourism development. So, para mais maintindihan natin si tourism planning and development, we have here 3 dimensions. So, the first one is the growing integration of economies and societies. So, how can we have an integration? So, by means of having a globalization. So, pag sinabi kasi nating globalization, ibig sabihin, nagtutulong-tulungan. Okay? There is a shared ideas within the countries. So, it is a process of interaction and integration among people, companies, and governments worldwide. So, if there is an integration between the economy and the society, and there is what we call globalization, syempre, di ba, nai-increase yung global competition. Okay? Yung mga presyo ng mga bilihin is pwedeng bumaba. Kumbaga, maging balanse lang. And it creates a larger variety of choices for consumers. So, number 2 is the second dimension, which is establishing mixed economic system and joining the world economic community through global trade. So, ano ba yung sinasabi natin dito sa second dimension? So, we want to have a combination aspect of the capitalism and socialism. So, sinasabi lang natin dito that both private sector and government entities can control the goods of the country. So, tulungan sila, si private at saka si government sector. So, the next one is the third dimension, is the ability to sustain the optimum balance between the demand of tourism and the resources of the company. So, as their integration is coming, 'di ba? As integration is coming, at dahil meron tayong mixed economic system, so it's time naman para i-sustain natin magkaroon ng optimum balance between the usage of these resources sa tourism and hospitality. Kasi pag sinabi nating optimal, basically this is the best and most effective possible in a particular situation. We are going to use the best and the most effective method as possible in a particular situation. So, yung sinasabi natin na optimum balance. So, those are the 3 dimensions. So, the next one is the ProPoor Tourism. So, ano ba yung tinatawag na ProPoor Tourism? So, this approach which stresses paying greater attention to the role that tourism development can play in reducing poverty. So, isa sa mga example niyan is yung pag nagtayo tayo ng isang tourist attraction, 'di ba? Aside sa kumuha tayo ng mga employees natin outside our community, we are trying to create jobs, 'di ba? By offering this kind of, let's say, position doon sa mga tao within the community. Baka kasi merong mga tao doon na pwede, 'di ba? They are fit to work for us. Para nang sa ganun makatulong tayo na yung mga tao sa community natin is magkaroon din sila ng trabaho, 'di ba? So that is one of the approaches na pwede nating gawing example dito kay ProPoor Tourism. So as we offer jobs sa mga tao na to, we are also reducing yung rate ng poverty na tinatawag because we are giving them the chance, 'di ba, to earn income, to earn money for their needs and for their families. So the next one is the national development. So ano ba yung term na national development? So basically it is a process by which poor countries, 'di ba, tries to develop its economy by making institutional reform, building its infrastructure, and improving the governance of its chosen economic system. So, sinasabi dyan that national development is the change in growth and development. So, paano nagkakaroon ng growth and change? Saan? It includes yung social, cultural, and economic change. So, it is the ability of a country to improve the social welfare of the people. Okay? So, yun naman ang ating pinaka-goal talaga eh. Kaya tayo nagkakaroon ng mga ganitong reforms, kaya tayo nagkakaroon ng mga ganitong programs, ng mga ganitong development, is we want to improve, 'di ba? The welfare of the people, yung kanilang kapakanan, yung kanilang buhay. Okay? So, it will be the expansion and the growth of people in a defined territory or government. So, that is national development. How about the sustainability principles? So, sustainability principles refers to the environmental, economic, and socio-cultural aspect of tourism development, and a sustainable balance must be established between 3 dimensions to guarantee its long-term sustainability. So, when we hear the word sustainability, so sinabi na natin before that it is our ability to use these resources, but we have to make sure that the future generation will also benefit from these resources. So, sinasabi lang dyan that there should be a balance. 'Di ba? Sa tatlong dimensions na binanggit natin kanina, there should be a balance. Para nang sa ganun, magkaroon ng long term, 'di ba? Pangmatagalang sustainability na kahit yung mga susunod na henerasyon pa is makinabang pa sila, 'di ba? Doon sa mga resources na ito. So we have sustainable tourism. Meron tayong mga factors na kailangan na i-determine. So first one is the optimal use of environmental resources, the respect the socio-cultural authenticity of the host community. So, ano ba yung sinasabi natin na socio-cultural authenticity? Okay? When we hear the word socio-cultural, so in short, when we say socio-cultural authenticity, it means that we are having this kind of genuine attitude. We are having this kind of originality with regards to the origin and tradition. So, authenticity is the key motivational factor for tourists with an interest in foreign culture and destination. The tourists want something na original, 'di ba? We want something that is authentic. And most likely, itong mga example natin na to is building of heritage, 'di ba? And preserving yung ating mga lugar. Preserving those attractions na alam natin na may cultural importance and merong, let's say, authenticity. Like for example, yung mga museum, diba? Yung mga heritage sites na yan. What else? Yung mga pinupuntahan natin na alam natin na merong background history. So we need to respect it in order for us also to gain a sustainable tourism. And the last one is ensure viable long-term economic cooperation or operation rather. So mangyayari lang yan, yung long-term economic operation, if those four major groups kanina is magtutulungan. Okay? So the private sector, the government, the NGO, and the people. So in that case, our economy will grow, and as the economy grows, 'di ba, magkakaroon din tayo ng sustainable tourism. So the transition stage of mixed economy is taking different shapes and shades in each developing country. So we have 4 steps, okay, here that is emerging. So ano yung mga 4 na steps na to or 4-step process? So we have the macroeconomic stabilization and control. So when we hear the word macro, basically it is wide, it is broad, 'di ba? So macroeconomic stabilization means it is a condition in which complex framework for monetary and fiscal institutions and policies is established to reduce volatility and encourage welfare-enhancing growth. So in short, si macroeconomic stabilization, sinasabi lang natin dito that we want to have a So, si macroeconomic stabilization, sinasabi lang natin dito that we want to have a stabilizing economic activity. We want to have the stability with regards sa pricing ng mga products and services, because in that case, we are keeping, di ba? We are keeping yung mga negativity such as unemployment, di ba? Pag mataas ang unemployment, alam natin, hindi stable ang ating ekonomiya. So, in that case, ano ba yung mga objectives ng tinatawag na macroeconomy? So, we have full employment, 'di ba? Gusto natin is magkaroon ng full employment. We want to have a stable prices sa mga goods and services. And of course, also, we want to reduce monetary, fiscal, and balance of payment imbalances. So, kasi si macroeconomic factor is basically a phenomenon. Okay? It is a condition na nangyayari talaga sa particular country na naapektuhan talaga yung ekonomiya rather than the population. So, dito nakapaloob din yung gross domestic product, yung rate ng employment, yung phases ng business cycle, kung may rate ba yung inflation, let's say inflation rate na tinatawag, yung pagtaas ng mga bilihin, the money supply, 'di ba? Yung level ng government debt, and of course, yung short-term and long-term effects na kung saan makakaapekto talaga sa ating ekonomiya. And then we also have the price and market reform, the privatization and enterprise restructuring, and creating a new role in the state. So nowadays, yung mga private sectors, they're given the chance to grow, 'di ba? Kasi nga, they can establish their own ownership rights. So pwede na silang magkaroon ng sarili nilang rights sa kanilang mga sariling business, especially kung ikaw is sole proprietor, 'di ba? And of course, as we create new role in the states, ayan, it includes direct ownership and control of economic assets, production, and distribution. So those are the 4-step process that is emerging in the mixed economy or the transition stage. So there are 2 principal characteristics of tourism. We have a not traditional industrial sector, and products can only be consumed only at its place of production. So as we all know, tourism is a service-oriented industry. So we are catering, we are giving our services, and you can only avail that kind of services and you can only consume it kapag nagpunta ka doon sa lugar. 'Di ba? Hindi naman natin dinadala sa tao, hindi naman natin pinopromote na ito yung lugar. 'Di ba? Most likely, the place itself speaks, 'di ba? Nagsasalita mismo yung lugar na yon, inaakit sila sa pamamagitan ng beauty ng lugar na yon, sa kanyang characteristics, sa kanyang features. Kaya natin napapapunta yung mga turista doon sa area. So, system that fall under social organization and activities of tourism context. So, we have here the cultural system. Of course, it includes the knowledge, the values, the custom, and the beliefs of the individuals living in the society. And of course, the environmental system. So, everything that is non-social, they deal with physics, chemistry, and non-human biology. So, anything that is under the environment and physical event, it can affect social behavior, and behavior can affect cultural and environmental system. So, of course, if the behavior of a particular society, 'di ba, is medyo alanganin, so naapektuhan yung environment. Kasi kung ano man yung behavior mo, yun yung ginagawa mo sa environment. So, kung ang business mo is nag-illegal, let's say, mga furniture, 'di ba? So, most likely, kailangan mo magputol ng mga puno para makagawa ng mga furniture. So, in that case, ano yung mangyayari? So, nagkakaroon ng effect sa ating environment din. And behavioral system is the subject of social psychology of tourism. So, all of those examples are the systems, 'di ba, that fall under social organization. So, tourism as an overlapping economic sector. So, 3 traditional necessities: eating, sleeping, and transportation. It is overlapping because as we go to a particular destination, kailangan natin ng transportation, 'di ba? Kailangan natin ng matutulugan if we are going to stay in a particular destination for a few days. At dahil kailangan natin ng lodging, kailangan din natin ng mga makakainan. So, that's why restaurants or the food and beverage industry exist. So, economic development is the process by which a scarce resource of countries and regions are allocated in rational quantities at the right time and at the right location to achieve a better life for people. So, ano ba yung sinasabi natin dito na economic development? So, basically, economic development, ang pinaka-main goal niya is to improve the economic well-being of a community. So, how can we improve the economic well-being of the community? We want to have, or we want to exert, or we need to exert efforts, 'di ba? So, yung efforts na yon is like creating jobs, 'di ba? Job retention, tax-based enhancement, and quality of life. Because sabi nga dito, there is no single definition for economic development. Walang strategy, 'di ba? Walang policy, walang program na definite or precise. But syempre, as the time goes by, sabi ko nga, kung magtutulungan lahat ng tao sa isang bansa, so magkakaroon tayo ng magandang pamumuhay. Okay? So sinasabi dyan, there is a right time at the right location to achieve a better life for people. So that's the end of our presentation. So that concludes the understanding of tourism planning and development. So if you miss some points in our lesson video, feel free to rewind, replay this video. Thank you so much for listening and have a nice day.